Hey up and welcome back to Matt's Mindful Meals. I've been away for a little while, just got a bit too busy with all sorts of stuff and a little project, and the project's right behind me. So those of you who've subscribed have probably seen I've been trying to do this on my little community page for a while. But anyway, there she is, fully ready. So that's Matt's mobile meal machine. So I'm going to give it its first shot today. So as you can see, we've come down to the beach, and what better to cook down at the beach than fish and chips? So I'll get myself set up. I've got Heather and Grace here with me as well, so we're going to have a fish and chip dinner down by the beach. Anyway, I'll catch you up in a little bit and you can see me getting set up. Ta!
Yeah!
The stove I'm going to be using today is the Coleman unleaded Sportster stove. So you can use Coleman fuel in this or petrol, and I've currently got unleaded petrol in there. So as you see, you've got a fuel reservoir here and then a burner. Now the burner's got a preheater, so it's really efficient. So you pressurise this part and then pump it up, but you'll see more of that in a little while. So, as I was saying, it's been a while since I got a cooking video done. Head wasn't in the right place. Getting better with my recovery by quite a lot, so I'm happy about that. But I just needed to step away and do a few family things. So we've got a huge tent that you've seen me put up in a video I did a few weeks ago. But yeah, everything's coming good. So, but I'll be honest, that this video's taken 3 attempts to get down to the beach. I set off and I wasn't quite right, so I cancelled it, then I delayed it for a day, then we had Heather's birthday, so today's the first real chance. So fingers crossed everything goes good, because I've not cooked on this thing before, so let's see. So first thing we've got to do really is get the chips cooked. This chair's not really quite the right height, but we'll sort that out. So need a bowl to put them in when they're ready. Yeah, so it's been an interesting few days. I'm okay though, I'm okay. Fitness wise, I'm going to the gym every day of the week, apart from on the Sunday on the weekend. I have that as my rest day, so I'm starting to see some effects of that. You'll probably notice that my breathing's a heck of a lot better. I even went into the sea just a bit about here yesterday, right up here, to do the breathing exercises. And I've been intending to do that for months, but yesterday was the first time I plucked the courage up. Anyway, I'm definitely getting better. So enough about me. Let's get more onto the fish and chips, because Grace and Heather have gone for a walk down the beach, and this is Grace's favourite meal. So here goes. Let's get the chips on the go. I'm not peeling the potatoes, because some of the goodness of the potatoes is in the skin. So being as you're cooking outside, you don't want to cut these too thick, because they'll take far too long to cook. Now, I don't know about you, but that's plenty of chips. So I'll get them covered up, because you don't want any sand on them. put them to one side for a little while. Now, get rid of them bits of potato. Traditional accompaniment for British fish and chips is mushy peas. Well, you can get them in a tin, but I've made my own. So what I've done, I've made a video of that, but it takes about 32 minutes. But I'll either add it in here, or I'll put a link to it at the end. Not made my mind up yet. But anyway, these are homemade mushy peas. I'm the only one in my house who likes them, so Heather and the kids don't like them at all, so they won't be having any. But the other thing I'm going to be making is tartar sauce. So I'll get that done now, because it's only a little tiny bit of chopping up. So I've got a couple of gherkins, and then some capers. So, and then a tiny little bit of mayonnaise. It's just going to be for me. Now at home I'd normally make it with my own mayonnaise, but being as I'm out. So what this is just, so you've got a little bit of a pickle flavour. Chop these, not too roughly, it's nice to have them quite finely chopped. Heather might have some of this, not sure. And then just add this for some mayonnaise. Capers next. We'll add them in, and then when you go to a chip shop in Britain, you used to get wooden forks. And being as we're down by the sea, I think it's going to be ace having these little wooden forks. Plus, much better than a plastic fork, because plastic forks will be here forever, whereas this thing, they actually come in a packet that says they're biodegradable. So, although it's not a big thing for the environment, but you are, every little thing we do to help the environment out has got to be for the better, hasn't it? Anyway, so that's your tartar sauce now. So it's nice and chunky, and that's going to be delicious on top of the fish. A million times better than any tartar sauce you buy in a jar. Put the wrong lid on. So put that away. So I don't need the chopping board for a little while, so that can go too. So yeah, the two stoves I'm going to be using again. So I'll chat to you about this one again. So for years now I've had some Coleman stuff. I've got Coleman lamps. I've got a double burner. Coleman, like, it looks like a briefcase, but it's got two of these in. So I thought, I'm going to a festival in a few weeks, and in the morning we're going to be wanting a brew, because we're Brits. So this thing's like its own little, everything's all here. You don't need anything else apart from an ignition source. Yeah, so this is full of petrol, and it's going to be perfect. So I bought a big kettle so we can have loads of brews in the morning. So when we're at the festival, we'll probably be eating out most of the time. Anyway, so the way we get this to work is we pressurise the petrol that's inside here. So I'll get it lit for us. Undo it. Give it some pumps. Tighten it up, and we turn the lever on the front and you can hear the gas coming out. It's a bit fiery at first, but it does settle down. There we go, we're lit. So what happens here is the pressure in the petrol is now forcing it through this brass pipe at the top, and then it comes through and flares out. Now, it becomes more efficient the hotter it gets because it preheats the vapour, so you don't use that much fuel at all. So on one fill of this, which is not even half a litre, it can run for 8 hours. So that's quite cool. And yeah, proper hot already. So, as with any time you're using hot oil, you've got to be extremely careful. That's why I've moved a lot of stuff away, so I've got enough space. So in here, I've got some cod fillets that I put in flour. I took them out of the fridge this morning because obviously we're coming out and it's quite warm. So I've already put them in the flour, but I'll need to make the batter in a few seconds. So what I'll do, I'll move that over to where I plan to cook with it. So we don't need to move it around too much. Actually, I'm going to turn it off for a little while. That was just to show you, but you get the idea. I'll turn that off. So, let's get making the batter. Try to keep sand out of everything, which is a nightmare. So, got a can of Green King IPA, so that's from East Anglia, and an unfiltered pale ale. So we all know that beer batter's far nicer than any other batter. So make sure this has got no sand in. Get it all over myself. So, self-raising flour for me. Some people use plain flour, I use self-raising flour. Just makes the batter that little bit more fluffy. So a good old portion of flour. Put that to the side. Plenty of salt and pepper in this. I've already salt and peppered that flour as well, so it's pre-seasoned. But when we come to put the batter in here, when we come to put the fish in, it's nice to have it well seasoned. So that should be enough salt. Pepper. Mix this up a little bit. Now another ingredient I like putting in mine, just helps it a little bit. Some people don't, you don't have to. Or as I say, this is the way that we like it. Extra bit of binding ingredient. Pop in an egg white. It's actually split, so the whole egg can go in. It's not a problem at all. It's not a problem if you use the whole egg. So there's my first use of the rubbish bag for today. So what I'll do now, I'll mix this in a little bit. Don't put it all in. You need to bring it together first. Once you've got most of it together, you can add a little bit more in at a time. Make sure you get flour everywhere, that really helps. I think we could cope with putting the last of the beer in. It means I only get one sip, not two. Oh, that's easy. That doesn't want to stand up. Stay. So, you see this now. It's like a thick cream or a big thick soup. So what we do now, tap the sand off. And just let the batter sit. We'll put that to one side. And there's the fish that we'll put into it in a bit. So what we need to do now is have a little bit of a tidy up. And let's get the chips on. This funnel, well not funnel, this tub is so that I can, when we've finished it and we let it all cool down, I can take the oil away, because I'm not going to pour the oil down on the beach. That's just really irresponsible. So, remember when you're putting oil into chip pans, never go more than half full, because if you go more than half full, once it bubbles it can go over and then you're left with a really terrible fire. And never leave it unattended. I feel like I'm doing some kind of public service announcement, but yeah, I just don't want anybody to say to me, oh, I did what you said and I really hurt myself, because I don't want that. So as you've seen before, turn the lever. Always makes me jump whenever I light anything, and I've been doing it for years. So what I'll do now is pop this on the top. That's going to take a while to heat through. So I'll turn the camera around and I'll let you have a look at this for a while, because it's absolutely stunning. I think the oil's nearly there now, so what I'm going to do is chop. Yeah, it's starting to go, so I think we're ready. So I'll start putting more chips in. Now remember I said don't put too much oil in because it comes quite high. You see it's already risen quite a bit. And you don't want it to go over the top. give those a few minutes and I'll see you in a bit. So the chips will take roughly 5 to 8 minutes depending on how thick you cut them. Now, as you saw earlier on, I didn't cut them too thickly, but they're starting to go a little bit crispy on the edges, but I like them to have quite a lot of colour, so I like my chips to be golden brown. So you keep stirring them, because depending on where they are in the pan, some of them have already started to colour, like that one for instance. But you need to keep them moving so it becomes quite even. But what I will do, I will take them out when I think they're just about right. I'll put them into my draining basket, and then I'll cook the fish, and then when I put the fish out onto the plate, I'll just drop them back in for a couple of minutes just to heat them all back up and get them what I think is perfect. So I think the chips are just ready now. So what I'll do, I will put them out into this so I can drain them off a bit, and then it'll be time to start with battering the fish. So I'll get these chips out. There's a closer look at my chips. It's now starts time to get the batter ready for the fish. But what I'll do, take the oil off because I don't want to get too hot. Keep it to the side. And I'll turn this down. Show you what I've done with the fish. I remember earlier on I said I'd coated it in breadcrumbs. I mean, not breadcrumbs, in flour. So it's seasoned flour. What you don't want to do, you don't have too much on there. So I'll need to shake the excess off on all 3 pieces and then put them into the batter. But the batter will need waking back up because it's been resting for a little while. So give this a stir up. Now the consistency I'm going for, as I said, is a little bit like double cream. And if there are some little lumps, that doesn't matter too much. But what I need to do now, I've got myself ready. I'll relight the stove when I can find the lighter, that is. Get the oil back on. We're back lit. Pop the oil back on. Shake the excess flour off. And then dip it in the batter. Now the flour helps it get a good coating. So now, try and see how this goes. Are you ready? What you don't want it to do is to stick on the bottom. So give it a bit of a nudge and hopefully it'll come up. Now I need to get the others in there quite quickly. Now that we're almost there, I want mushy peas. So what I've got to do now is pop these into here. and get these heated up. So I've got a little Tokes alcohol burner here. And the way I like these to be let down, so with a good old dollop of vinegar. Oops. This spoon's absolutely useless. I'm using a plastic fork. Somebody told me that you could get the Tokes titanium alcohol stove used with just 3 sides rather than the 4. Well, I don't recommend it because it doesn't seem to hold itself together very well. So shan't be trying that again. Anyway, these fish are turning golden brown now. Give my peas another stir. Pop them back on, they're almost perfect now. So you go, slightly different view of Matt's mobile meal machine in action. So I think it's time for me to dish up. I'll reheat those chips and I'll come back and show you what we've done. So there we have it. Matt's Mindful Meals, traditional fish chips and mushy peas cooked by the sea. As you've seen, we ate a dinner while you were watching the tide, I think, going out on the Mushy Peas. Anyway, so I'm really full. I didn't manage to finish all of mine, but we're going to go for scores. 10 out of 10 is the best, 9 out of 10 is obviously the worst. So Heather can go first. So what's your score?
9.
What about you?
9.5.
9.5. I'll give it, I reckon I'm going to go for a 9 as well. It was really good. To me, it was better than going down to the fish and chip shop and buying it and then going somewhere, because you're already at a beautiful spot. Anyway, for me that was brilliant. So we'll go for the big thumbs up. I reckon after 3, 1, 2, 3, massive big thumbs up. Get yourselves outside and enjoy what we've got. Anyway, I'll catch you next time, and you'll see a big roundel thing with the logo on. So if you hit that, that'll let you subscribe to the channel, and it'd be great to see you again. Anyway, till next time, ciao!